Hello, my name is June. I'm an astronaut that works with NASA's DART projects. You may be asking, what's a DART project? Well, a DART project is basically funded by corporations in the government that are not publicly known. Ever wonder where a good chunk of that cash the government makes from taxes that we don't know goes? Well, now you probably have a good idea of what I'm talking about. I'm basically telling y'all my experience. Whether you believe me or not, doesn't matter. Telling someone just makes me feel less alone in my thoughts. This all started on a Friday afternoon when I was in my house watching TV and I received a call with no apparent ID. Hello, June. Would you mind meeting up in an undisclosed location near your house? Typically, if any regular person got this call, they would start freaking out. But I've had my suspicions about NASA, so my common sense led me to believe that this was government related. I proceeded to drive up to the location that they sent me, and once I got there, I just waited. 15 minutes later, a black van then pulls up right next to my car. A man in a black suit then comes out and attempts to give me a handshake and invite me inside the van. Hello, June. We have been watching your work for the past decade and we want to make you a proposal. Of course. What's the proposal? You see, me and the man in this van are part of a secret organization that is not known to the public. Basically, our job is to undergo tests, secret expeditions, and research. So, I'm assuming you're asking me to work with you in a top secret test or expedition. Spot on. Like I said before, we have been watching you over the years and love your work. We are going to attempt an expedition to Mars. How is that possible? I mean, our technology is nowhere good enough to send manned missions that far away. Technology is always ahead of its time secretly. Let me elaborate. The government secretly has projects always going on, so our spacecraft technology is anywhere from 40 to 50 years ahead of the current public's technology. Oh, I see. Well, when do you want me to get started? I want you to read these over and sign the contracts. I then proceeded to read over all the NDAs and started signing. From what I've read, I would be getting paid over $400,000 a year from just training for the expedition and $4 million when the whole mission is completed. The training was gonna take 4 years. The training program was vigorous, but I completed it without injury. The training consisted of mostly farming under harsh conditions, engineering, and learning how to use high tech. Launch day was 2 weeks away from the time I completed the training. Today is launch day. All of those years of training has finally led up to this. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. The G-force was incredible. It was nothing that I've ever felt before. We finally broke out of the atmosphere and started to head towards the red planet. The spacecraft was unbelievable. The technology was ahead of its time. I forgot to mention my crew members, Brandon, Gabriel, and Margaret. Brandon was our main pilot, Gabriel was our engineer, and Margaret was specialized with biological farming. And as for me, my main job was to oversee all the technological aspects of the ship. We all knew a little bit of everything, but those were our main jobs. Our main objective for this operation was to go to Mars and set a colony for 2.5 years and see how it goes. If it's successful, we would have to stay and they would send more crews to the planet. If it doesn't work out, then we were to head back to Earth. Finally, the day has arrived. We were going to land on Mars. All of us were excited, but we weren't successful yet. Entering the atmosphere was horrible. The ship was thrashing around, and at times, it felt like we were going to crash. But luckily, we made it safely and landed. We all then suited up and got ready to be the first men and women to step foot on Mars.
One step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Really, Gabriel? That's like the most iconic thing you could have said. Guys, this place looks a lot like Arizona. Yeah, it really looks just like a desert wasteland.
For the next couple of weeks, we set our colony up and started adjusting to this new lifestyle. At first, it was hard, but later on, it just got easier and easier. Next thing you know, 5 months has passed, and we finally got a hang of it and have a self-sustaining colony. This is when we were ordered to start doing scout missions in the modified truck around the colony. Almost everything went according to plan, except something was just off. Every time we would go near Mount Olympus, our technology would malfunction. We didn't think much of it, but with technology being my specialty, this left me puzzled.
Guys, why is it that every time we come near this mountain, all of our technology just starts to act up?
Margaret said.
Likely to do with some geological force.
Brandon replied.
Guys, technology doesn't just malfunction like this. There has to be something in that mountain that is messing with our stuff.
I said.
June is right. This is a little bit too strange.
Gabriel agreed. For the next 2 months, we just kept on making our routine drives, and eventually just got used to the technological malfunctions near the mountain. But something just kept bothering me. Our geological scans were showing radioactivity, indicating that there was something in that mountain. I notified my superiors back on Earth, and they told us to stand by and await further orders. Guys, we need to talk. The scans show radioactivity coming from that mountain. I don't know what it is, but it certainly isn't natural to the terrain. What should we do? I mean, if it's radioactive, why would we even go near it to investigate? It's too much of a risk. I say we just ignore it, Margaret said. No, I think we should investigate it. If it's something unnatural, we could benefit a lot from studying it, Gabriel added. I agree with Gabriel, Brandon said. We'll just have to wait and see what our superiors tell us, I said. A couple of hours later, we received orders for an expedition into the mountain. They wanted us to record all of our findings and take any samples along the way. So we planned to go first thing in the morning the next day. The next day, we started driving to the mountain and found an opening to a cave system. This cave system looked nothing like Earth's. The first thing I noticed was the many different illuminating crystals of all sorts of color shades. We then kept walking for 15 minutes with the same crystals all around us. Suddenly, something changed.
Guys, stop. My suit is detecting a massive change in carbon dioxide levels. Let our suits adapt for a couple of minutes before we continue,
I said.
Whatever is down there isn't so pleased that we're here,
said Brandon.
This probably has something to do with magma from the center of the mountain,
Gabriel said.
Guys, if this was magma, our technology wouldn't malfunction like this,
I added. The only thing that was working were our suits. What was primarily malfunctioning was the devices that were linked to the satellite to help us have a good idea what we're walking into. After our suits adapted, we kept on walking. Now, this is where things really started to take a turn.
Guys, what in the hell are all these patterns on the wall?
Margaret said.
God damn. Yeah, this is definitely not caveman level writings,
Brandon added.
I guess this has to be the work of some sort of a creature or other life form. There isn't any other explanation,
Gabriel said shakingly.
Let's keep going,
I said.
Alright, you have to be fucking insane, June. Whatever is down there is not fond of us, clearly.
Margaret said intensely.
Look, hear me out. Whatever is down there would have killed us a long time ago if it really wanted to kill us,
I replied.
He's got a point. And I didn't come 143 million miles not to see some aliens,
Brandon said.
Alright, this isn't the time for jokes, guys,
said Margaret.
Look, seriously speaking, I say we go investigate. Margaret, since you're not fond of this, you'll go back to the truck and get it started. Alright, it's settled. Let's go deeper in the cave system.
We then continued on the path, and for the next 20 minutes, the cave patterns just got more defined every minute that passed. Then suddenly, the scanner showed for a split moment that we were about to enter an open area, then malfunctioned again.
Guys, we're about to enter an open area.
As we entered, what we saw were hundreds of alien corpses that seemed to be preserved. In the background, I also noticed a large spacecraft.
Guys, what in the actual fuck?
Brandon said with fear in his voice.
Oh my god. Thank God Margaret headed back to the truck.
Gabriel then added.
Alright guys, I know all of us are in a state of shock and amazement, but we have to complete our mission, so let's start taking samples. Margaret was right. You really are insane. Who in their right mind would actually get anywhere near those corpses, let alone alien corpses?
Gabriel said.
June, let me gain my composure back first, then I'll do it,
said Brandon. For the next 10 minutes, all of us tried to relieve ourselves of the present shock that we were in. Gabriel and Brandon came back to their senses and started to record. This is where things got weird.
Guys, did you hear that?
Brandon asked.
Yeah, what was that weird vibration?
Suddenly, a large, eerie sound sent all of us to our knees. In the background, we heard a weird robotic alien language. All of us started to regain our strength after that sudden sound sent us to the ground. We slowly started gaining our strength back and could notice that the sound likely came from the ancient alien's AI inside the spacecraft. The ship started to emit a bright green color. As this all happened, we started to hear a sound behind us.
The entrance is closing,
Gabriel screamed.
Fuck, why is that ship glowing out of nowhere and shutting us in here? Someone call Margaret to get us the fuck out of here,
Brandon said, panicking.
Guys, stay calm. Let's move towards the ship. This is probably because of the alien AI.
We all then proceeded to head towards the craft. Upon entry, we all noticed the same patterns that we saw on the walls in the cave. But now, they were on what I presumed to be the control panel for the spacecraft. The spacecraft contained no windows, seats, or any doors. For the next 20 minutes, Brandon, Gabriel, and I started to study the control panel and managed to decipher 3 controls. 1 being the hologram layout of the area around us, 2 being the doors, 3 being the ability to unlock all the seals to the entry of the mountain base.
This is fucking insane, guys. I thought we were just going to a dead, dry planet, but we just had to come across all this bizarre shit,
Brandon said hysterically.
No kidding. NASA is gonna be very fond of all our findings. Maybe they'll pay us extra for having to endure all this bullshit,
said Gabriel.
June, try to touch that pattern to your left.
Once I touched this pattern, a robotic voice started to speak. We didn't have a clue what it was trying to tell us, but we still attempted to communicate with it. Rapidly, the AI understood that we weren't from here. The AI then pointed to the device we were using. I then lifted it up, and a part inside the ship opened. So, instinctively, I put my device inside of it and waited. What I was assuming that this AI was trying to do was to scan over our technology to figure out our language and where we came from. Suddenly, a voice in English spoke. So, it seems like you primal apes evolved to the point where you acquired space travel technology. We really didn't think that you would make it this far. Your species are violent and divided, but it seems like you all have somehow made it. Hello, I am an AI that was created by the aliens that you see dead around this ship.
What happened to them? And how do you know our history?
Well, you see, you humans are the byproduct of us messing around with our own genetics 200,000 years ago. Basically, your whole entire planet was somewhat of a zoo for us. And going back to your first question, approximately 120,897 years ago, there was a biological war between two major nations on this planet. This war consisted of many advanced weaponry that have the potential to wipe out whole moons, and that's why this planet is still heavily radioactive and a cold desert wasteland. After many years of war, one of the nations decided to launch a biological attack on the other. This didn't go well. It caused everyone who was infected to immediately turn on each other, gaining unnatural strength and speed. Little did they know that this would cause all life on the planet to go extinct.
Whoa, this is a lot to take in. So, you're the reason for our technological malfunctions?
Gabriel asked. No, the reason for your technological malfunctions inside the cave is caused by a magnetic shield.
Okay, well, I've got a ton of questions to ask,
said Brandon. I've pretty much got eternity to answer the questions you present, but sadly, you all have to leave this planet as soon as possible.
And why is that?
I asked. The virus used in the biological attacks is still present. You can be easily infected by breathing the air around you or taking a sample.
I wish we could just blast off this planet, but we have orders to stay here for 2.5 years, so we can't just leave.
I can see through scanning your technology that this is so-called a dark project. So tell me if I interpret this wrong, but you are on a secret mission, correct?
You're correct. We were sent here to see if the Martian land would be habitable for future generations.
Well, I'm gonna give you a newsflash. Your government didn't send you here to do that. They already knew the abnormalities taking place in this mountain. You guys were sent to investigate, the AI said.
Those goddamn bastards.
There is no more time. You have to get out of this place and head back to your planet and show the footage of what you saw inside of this mountain. We then started to leave the spacecraft and walk outside of the base. For the next 30 minutes, we walked to our truck while in complete shock. Once we got to Margaret, she could see that we weren't mentally sane. Once we got back to the base, we explained everything and showed her all the footage. She was glad that she decided to go back into the truck than having to experience what we have. For the next few days, we waited for a response from NASA.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Great work. We are immensely impressed by what you all have accomplished. However, we want you to go back into the cave system and bring back multiple alien corpses and any alien technology you can find. Once these are in your possession, you will be free to come back to Earth.
June, this guy has to be fucking crazy if you really think we're gonna go back in there and grab all that shit. I mean, they saw all the videos and information we sent them, right? Gabriel said. Yeah, I'm not for it either. This guy can go fuck himself, Brandon said angrily. Look guys, I know what you're feeling, but we have to put all of that aside and complete this mission and follow the orders. He has a point. If we don't do as they say, they can keep us on this planet. We won't be able to go back. I should have listened to my pops. He told me about our sneaky government and its ruthlessness, Brandon added. Okay, it's settled. Me, Brandon and Gabriel will head first thing in the morning to collect the samples. While we're doing that, Margaret will have enough time to get our spacecraft ready to launch out of here. The next morning, we followed the plan and went down to the mountain to get all the samples. I also forgot to mention how the aliens looked. First of all, they were very tall, slender, and had 4 arms. The color of the corpse consisted of mostly black and some red. They also had 8 eyes and what seemed to be some sort of gills on their face. After having to go through that living hell twice, we completed our mission on obtaining the samples. Before we put the samples on the ship, we made sure to decontaminate everything and sealed them properly. All of us sighed in relief and started the launch sequence. And then we were spacebound on our way to Earth. For the next 2 months, we all helped each other to regain our sanity and actually started feeling human again. This all changed quickly. June, I got my brush stuck in the ventilation, Margaret said. I'll call Gabriel, he's better at that stuff. I told Gabriel what had happened, and he went on to help Margaret retrieve her brush in the ventilator. After attempting to take it out for a few hours, Gabriel decided that it likely got stuck deep inside. So he climbed inside, attempting to find it. But as he did, I noticed in the command center that it completely stopped our ventilation. This was bad, because if we didn't fix it within a couple hours, we would all freeze inside the craft. So Gabriel got fast to work and started to fix it. After 2 hours, Gabriel successfully fixed the ventilation. There was one problem though. It was extremely cold inside the ship, but we all knew the temperature was stabilized shortly.
Room 7, containment breach. Room 7, containment breach.
Everyone, get your suits on. Why? What happened? Brandon asked. No time, just get your suits on. Where's Margaret? I'm gonna go get her, Gabriel said. Gabriel, stop. It's a containment breach. The virus could be released all over the ship. I don't care. I'm looking for her. Gabriel resisted. God damn it. June, let's go to the control room, said Brandon. Right, let's go. Me and Brandon grabbed all the supplies and water we could and rushed to the control room. Then we sealed it off and watched the cameras. Nothing strange occurred. Gabriel and Margaret then came to the door and asked us to open it. Look, I know I sound like a fucked up friend for not opening it, but there was a possibility that this alien virus could have spread to them, and I didn't want me or Brandon to possibly get it. Guys, we can let you in here. We don't know if you're infected or not. June, this is bullshit. What if they don't have the virus? If we leave them out there, then they'll get it, Brandon protested. And what if they do? Then all of us will die. It's better to be safe than sorry. Let me out then. If there's a possibility that my friends will die, then I'll die with them, and that's final. I was shocked. But I could see there was no way convincing him otherwise. I then gave Brandon one last hug, just in case, and then let him get out of the control room. Wondering what caused the containment breach, I went to the computer and replayed the footage of what had happened in room 7. The video showed Margaret's brush flying out of the ventilation in room 7, hitting one of the capsules containing the alien corpses and breaking one of them open. This led me to the conclusion that this alien virus probably spread all around the ship. The first 5 minutes, nothing happened. Until I checked the camera and started to notice Margaret starting to twitch. It started slowly, then it turned into a violent twitch. Brandon and Gabriel started to run away from her, but it wasn't enough. With unnatural speed, she ran after Brandon and ripped Brandon's head clean off, and then started speeding towards Gabriel. Gabriel started pleading with her, "Margaret, wake up, this is not you." Gabriel got his stomach ripped out. I watched in complete horror. I couldn't help but start to cry uncontrollably. This was all my fault. If I didn't tell them that day to go back into the mountain, none of this would have happened. As I write this, what once used to be Margaret is slamming against the door with animalistic screams. While I write this, a tear falls from my eyes for every word I write. NASA already knew what was there, and they sent us like little lab rats. I know they won't let this ship get anywhere near Earth, and will probably destroy it. Shortly, I will open this door and let her, or it, kill me. My failures to my crew strikes me deep into my core, and it only feels right to go out this way, even though I'm deeply scared. I'm writing my story to you before my demise. Some things should just stay a mystery.